Okay, so they're about to see our faces.
Okay.
They can see our faces. Hi guys, welcome. We can countdown recording. We'll let Tim finish the thing.
The tweet is now up.
Hey.
Okay, recording beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then clap sync in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Plus was like, just go. Just go. It's fine. Let's go. I was like, hey,
you got it.
Do it.
Good. Video, audio, I'm good.
Nate's editing, so he's just like, I just need to sync. I just need to see it. That's all I care about. Okay, guys. Cherry, Bees, I know you guys are here. Welcome. Otherwise, we're opening up to the public this week, and we're gonna kind of probably do that from now on and figure out how it goes because YouTube's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is in fact a thing.
Playing with it.
Yeah. So let's just kind of like get into the groove, get into the conversation like we have been, and then we'll kick it.
Yeah. If you have seen or listened to any episode of this podcast, when you hear Paul start the episode, fun fact, we've probably been, screwing around for at least 15 to 20 minutes before that. So
it's true.
Yeah, and I always try to cut it in to make Paul look poorly.
It's true. Every time.
It's not hard.
No. I make it very easy on him. Guys, this week we have Bless.
Hello. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
I'm trying to figure out where you
coming.
are. I think you're here for me. Yeah, you're there.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, there. Anyway, he's here. We're gonna talk some anime. We're gonna talk some voice acting stuff. We're gonna talk some news in relation to Star Wars and anime because that got released this week, which is super cool. And if none of you knew, Bless is a huge Star Wars nerd. And it's going to be a fun thing to kind of talk about what's going on, where we're going, what could be in different series, and then kind of talk about studios. So, I think I need to give Nate something very funny to use as the opening to laugh at me about because apparently everything's ridiculous and I'm always ridiculous. So I guess we're going to kind of start it there and go from the fact that welcome to Studio Blank, the anime and manga podcast where you can find all your news, views, and reviews on all things weeb every single week. I'm your host, I Love Mondays, with Nate and Tim, my two co-hosts, and a very, very special guest this week. Bless is here.
Hey.
I'm mad you didn't mess up it.
I'm angry now.
Also, starting a petition to get Bless as one of the VAs for the English dub of the Star Wars anime. It's official.
Yes.
Hey,
it's true. Now it's official. It needs to be there.
Petition has started.
For us to start the actual podcast so that he could do that.
Of course. It was just
I needed to make sure that got into the episode.
It's true. We do need to start that petition. Guys, Bless is just a good friend. Great friend of the channel, great friend of Rare Drop across the board, and a fantastic voice talent. So I'm just really excited to have him here, and we'll talk all these things. We're primarily going to be jumping into some DBZ and My Hero stuff later, but we're going to start off with your news. Then we're going to kind of start off talking about his passion, his career in voice talent and so on, and how that interacts with anime and so on. And we're just going to have a good time and hang out. And we hope you enjoy it. Tim, kick it off with our news.
Some really cool news that got announced today. Chainsaw Man anime, and it's being done by Mappa, so I can already trust it to not be goddamn terrible.
This is true.
So I know nothing about Chainsaw Man.
Same.
Tim, do you actually know anything about Chainsaw Man?
I am current with Chainsaw Man.
Okay, so I'm assuming there's a man with a chainsaw?
How do I describe it?
Does he have chainsaw?
I'll give you the short version.
Okay.
So our main character Denji is incredibly poor. Like, he's under a mountain of debt that would murder all of the Rare Drop guys.
Oh,
yes.
That's how much money he owes. And so to make money, he does odd jobs, and one of the odd jobs he does is hunt devils. And then one day he ends up with the power of a devil inside of him, and he now has the ability to become Chainsaw Man. And with that, he does more devil hunting to get himself out of debt. It's a fun time.
I'm looking at the manga artwork, and it's pretty badass. It's like Evil Dead,
It's so badass.
but with the chainsaw on the head.
Yeah.
Okay, so
He is the chainsaw.
hold on.
I saw that a few days ago. They said that they were going to be having a big announcement for Chainsaw Man, and people were either hypothesizing they were going to be announcing season 2 or an anime. And I think that an anime being done by Mappa, they're also doing season 2.
Yeah, so the second part of the series, instead of being serialized in WSJ, is going to move to SJ Plus.
Mm.
So I'm still going to get to read it, so it doesn't matter. I pay for Weekly Shonen Jump, and
This looks
pay for
real
Shonen Jump
good.
Plus.
This looks actually like that. The style looks
Oh.
really interesting.
Yeah.
It was one that I was like waiting until it was done to recommend to both of you so that you could just binge it,
Yeah,
and it ended like this week.
it looks
Like,
real.
this was the last episode.
It
the
gives
last
me
chapter.
I'm gonna say this wrong, and you're gonna butcher me again. It's No Guns Life, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, No Guns Life,
It is
except
No
you know,
Guns Life.
chainsaw, chainsaw head.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of
Paul-
Orca.
He can't pronounce Japanese names
Yeah.
or English names for that
No,
matter.
no, I can't. It just reminds me of it gives me like the Orca Man vibes too. The Orca hero from My Hero, just like giant hulking body Orca head. So that's gonna be fun. I'll read it, and you'll probably get my notes on that in like probably New Year, because I'm burning through Week Hero right now. Started last night. I'm already at chapter 60 something.
Yeah, it's Weak Hero is really good.
It's interesting.
that's a
I'm not
qual-
feeling it, but it's good, if that makes sense.
It has a long build up period.
Okay.
Like I got to the last like I was maybe 10 or 15 chapters from being current
Yeah.
before fast passing, and then decided I need to go and splurge on coins so that I could fast pass to the end.
Fair.
Like it was that
It's
was
over?
that good.
Is it over?
That was the end of the season. So
Okay. So they've ended
there's
the
like
season.
5 more episodes that are in the tank in fast pass, but that's
Okay.
it.
Okay, cool. We'll do that. Next fun thing of news. We're getting
Well, we kind of already talked about it. The Star
we're
Wars
getting
Vision
Star
anime.
Wars. We're getting Star Wars anime.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Like Tim and I were talking about it earlier this week. All I want is like Bones, UFO Table, or Mappa. Because each one of those studios has an anime that like I can see all of the lightsaber combat just being batshit crazy.
Bless, did you watch Demon Slayer?
I seen one episode of it. Just
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Did you watch episode 19, the one that blew up Twitter when it came out?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay.
Oh, okay. When you get some time, go and watch Demon Slayer because that's Ufotable's like one of their best works.
Yes.
I got you.
Fate Stay Night is also one of their like those are their 2 like highlight productions.
Yep.
And they're fantastic. The combat is always very fluid. And the shot design is gorgeous.
A big Fate fan. So
Yeah, I've
Fate
seen some
Zero,
like
they say.
I've seen some like scenes of it, but I haven't just been able to. But
Yeah.
like it seemed gorgeous.
Like
Yeah, I actually think Funimation has the entire dub of Demon Slayer now. Like all 26 episodes released like earlier this week or last
That's what's
week.
up.
You know what else Funimation has?
what?
Crunchyroll.
Oh,
You're not wrong.
I was
They do
expecting
in
you to
fact have
jump in for that one, I'll be honest.
Other big news. We'll jump into that. We'll talk more about the Star Wars in a little bit, but Funimation, who is owned by Sony, bought Crunchy. So Sony now
From
officially
AT&T.
has both Crunchyroll and Funimation under the same roof.
Yeah,
Well,
I've
so-
been waiting to talk about this on the podcast. I'm
Also,
very
it was specifically the Funimation group
Yes.
bought Crunchyroll, not the Sony. It was the subsidiary owned by Sony bought Crunchyroll, so it's going
you
to
mean
be a
Aniplex?
Funimation.
Yes.
Yeah. Aniplex, which owns Funimation currently, also bought Crunchy. And because Aniplex and Crunchy already had a working relationship, I doubt that this was like there's not going to be like hostile takeover situations with stuff. I think it's going to be very positive.
Yeah.
I was a little bit irked by the fact that now it feels like Sony / Funimation have a monopoly on the streaming market for anime, but at the same time, Funimation does a very good job at current with a lot of the stuff that they do, so I'm not particularly disappointed.
Yes.
And I am excited because it means that we'll probably have a better chance of getting movies directly put onto streaming sites once they're available on DVD.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like the Goblin Slayer movie, which was like put out by Aniplex, was just randomly put onto Crunchy and no one said a damn thing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of did the same thing with the Konosuba movie.
It was just all of a sudden like, oh, by the
hey.
way, this is out and on Crunchy. Here you go.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm okay with it. It made it really easy for me to watch the movie.
Not
But-
disappointed, just confused.
What I'm hoping for is like more crossover talent, because like
Mhm.
they are essentially production studios now. It's no longer
Yeah.
just like a site per se, you know, like Crunchy's originals have crossed over into the realm of full level like production on one end to bring about shows, and Funimation is in essence all of the voice acting that's ever been done, like legendary, you know, stuff ever. So like we'll also I'm hoping we get some of that crossover from production and talent, so that like some of the stuff that Crunchy's producing that's really well, they can finally reach out and be like, hey, we're not really breaching contract because we're under the same head studio, you know, so like, hey, can we borrow Chris Sabat for, you know, this character, you know, which allows, unfortunately, I think that'll like, you know, would kill some of the competition in terms of voice acting, which I kind of want to ask Bless about just a little bit to see, because I've never really dived into the world of like what the process behind that looks like. We had Kyle LeBear, who was the voice of Adult Gohan and all of this stuff, you know, a couple months ago on Star Wars and Scotch and the Broman podcast. So he kind of breached that a little bit, but you know, he's been established in the industry for decades at this point, you know. So like I'm wondering what it's like from your point of view when you see studios that end up kind of allowing that crossover.
For sure. I mean, for me, it's crazy because it's very hard to get one of those like jobs, because like Chris Sabat owns a studio in like Dallas, Texas, and I forget the name of it. A Takutron 8000, I think.
Yeah.
And so like he does voices there, and I think it all comes down to directors out there, and I think like there's like different houses out there. I know like Aniplex has like so many like little studios, like and like they just do random dubs, and so it's more on like trying to, I think like if you're a producer, like, oh yeah, I want Chris Sabat, man, yeah, I think like there's a level of that, but like for like regular talent, it's casting directors putting out calls, and then 9 times out of 10 it's like agencies going to say, hey, these are my best 5, and it becomes like a cyclical thing that's how they find people, because there's a level of trust, like, oh, I'll go to this person to get this talent that, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think for talent wise, I don't think with voice talent, I don't think there's ever anything to like worry about that.
Gotcha.
I think also once you get in like the Funimation wheelhouse, it always seems like you have those actors that go and you hear on every project.
It's the same 12 voice actors joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm watching this show, which one's Matt Mercer this time? Just not a bad thing. I love Matt Mercer, but that's just the go-to example that I have.
Yep. Definitely.
So,
I'm just really excited to see what they start pumping out. because
Oh,
like
yeah,
more
especially
money,
'cause-
more money equals better things. And like if getting stuff like Tower of God and God of High School is any indication, you know, from an original standpoint and getting more funding to do stuff like that, like give it to me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we also
I
got
would
stuff like
say-
Gibiate, and I want to.
No, he didn't. Gibiate doesn't exist. Gibiate was a fever dream that you had one week.
Bless
He had
to
it
give
for
you.
2 weeks.
I had it for 2 weeks.
He was really sick for like 2 weeks and just kept rambling
Paul, wake
about
up.
his imaginary show.
Wake up,
And
samurai.
T-posing monsters. I don't know. It was wild.
Bless to
absolutely-
give
Long
you.
story short,
yeah.
it was supposed to be like a futuristic samurai and shinobi fighting monsters.
Well,
and
it was
what
literally
ended up
Samurai
being-
Jack. They
What
literally
it
were
ended
like,
up being was like an okay animated samurai and an okay animated shinobi fighting poorly animated 3D monsters.
yeah,
So
with no real
it
story.
didn't look great.
It was very sad. Because like when you say Samurai Jack and Cyberpunk and then anime in like the same sentence, like I
of
lost
it
my
sounds
mind.
good.
Everything sounds incredible. I'm like, I'm totally down. And then that happens and I just like was deflated for like 2 weeks. Because like the first encounter you have with a monster is it's badly done 3D and he's T-posing because they can't get any animation proper. And he doesn't
Wait.
even bend from the hips.
For real?
Yes.
Yeah, he bends at the chest.
He bends at the chest. He like bends at like pectoral
Oh,
level bend,
ew.
and like there's no like hip bend. He just
It's not.
It
It's
was-
not great. to say
it
the
felt
least.
so bad.
What's the name of it?
Gibiate.
Okay,
That's
we
how
can
it's
find a
just-
clip.
It it made me feel
It's
so
it's
bad.
just not good.
it
It's
just
so disappointing, in fact. And
Oh.
Paul and I had high hopes for it.
I mean,
We were
because like
oh, this could
you
be
say
really
like
sweet.
it's like Samurai Jack Cyberpunk in anime, and I was just so very ready, and then it didn't. It was
That's
bad.
And it was
okay.
just bad.
Like because it wasn't like it was a monster that was done like that. All of the monsters were done like that, and like the characters and the animation was done in like 24, but the monsters were done in like 12, and it felt real bad.
I want you to know, I was looking up a clip and I searched Gibiate, and the first video that wasn't the trailer was Gibiate is a dumpster fire, and here's why.
Oh, really?
Oh
Yes.
Lord.
That's
So-
tough.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Dang.
that's what I'm hoping for. Is I'm hoping for more budget so that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that happening just feels bad.
3D in anime is not
oh,
very cash money.
oh, you can say that, and then we saw this season of Attack on Titan, and we lost our minds. So, if you have budget, you can do it well, and if you know what you're doing. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's a combination of the both things. You can know how to do it really well and not have the budget, and you end up with a bad showcase. You can
Oh.
have all the money in the world but not know anything and end up with a bad showcase. Or you can have all the money in the world and know what the hell you're doing and end up with a good product.
or end up being
So,
Mappa.
Tim, have you watched Attack on Titan season 4 episode 1 now?
I have. I watched it on Friday night.
And so what do you think about the 3D in that?
There
There was
there were
bad parts.
moments where I was like,
Mhm.
you were so close. You almost had it. And then there was moments I was like, are you sure that's CG? I had to like watch the episode back a couple times.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that Paul and I aren't out of our minds when we were
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that.
So
Because I was explaining that to Elstar. I was like, because I was visiting, and she was like, are you sure that's 3D? I'm like, no, I'm positive it's 3D CG. That's just how good they are.
yeah.
Mm.
So
The animators at Mappa are top tier.
and as
which is
we've said
really
before,
good.
part of it is the art style that allows you to like map things to those models and have it be, look correct in the world.
Yeah, but there was definitely some moments where I was like,
Yeah, like when he was
No,
picking up
then
the
when you-
shells, when the Beast Titan was picking up the shells, it was a little because part of it was 2D, part of it was 3D, stuff like that. But
yeah, the Beast Titan did not look particularly good, but the Armored Titan looked fucking insane.
so Bless has no idea what we're talking about because
I
he hasn't
know,
seen it yet.
But hey, it sounds That sounds rock and roll, man.
Dude, Attack on Titan is a roller coaster. You never know what's
Yeah,
going on.
It goes from medieval horror fest to story world to steampunk drama to World War One.
Yeah,
I don't know. All the seasons are weird and different, but
but they're great. It's all interweaved too. It's really like,
you look confused. You're about as confused as we were. Don't worry.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it's totally
Wait,
worth
is it
it.
the same? Is it like each season a different like colony, or is it?
Nope. Same story.
No, because like, so the first
Okay.
season is set in the main city, and like that's where you get this whole thing because they're like having the entire story take place in basically like the same section. Then
Oh,
the next season is like, oh look, we kind of like made our way out, and now we're training in the mountains, and then like we're kind of in the city here and there. So like you're world building in that way. Season 3 is like, oh look, here's the underground of the city that nobody knew existed, but everybody knew existed. Now we can reveal it to you because you understand the world. And then season 4 is like, oh, now we went to war with like the other continents.
What?
Yeah.
It-
Like I
It's
said,
wild.
it's all over
It's a
the
good
place,
time.
but it's great. Like when you get through it, if you get through it, like you'll understand. Season
I
2 gets a
gotcha.
little
Yeah,
slow.
It's really good. Yeah,
So,
like see the episode 1 comments that I had were like the Jaw Titan just had moments where it looked terrible,
yes.
Yes.
but then it had moments where it looked amazing, and I was like, okay.
That was me this
Okey
last
doke.
episode of IQ. Very sad.
Mhm.
So,
But
anyway,
so
we have
Star
more news.
Wars.
Yes.
Yeah. Talking about shows that are going to have a ridiculous budget. I'm going to beat this dead horse one more time. I swear, this is the last time I beat this horse.
Okay.
all right.
Demon Slayer movie.
Yes.
On our
Now,
weekly
when you
Demon
talk
Slayer
about
movie update.
Yeah, when you talk about how well a movie does, you can use it, you can use a box office's previous earnings to kind of see how it's like how this, the movie has affected it. Toho's November box office earnings were 148 million US, compared to the previous year's 14 million US.
Yeah.
A
Demon Slayer's a
majority
good
of
movie.
it was the Demon Slayer movie.
Demon Slayer's a good movie.
You think you haven't seen it yet?
Every review I have seen that's spoiler full and spoiler free has praised it heavily.
to give you an idea of what they did is you have the Demon Slayer season, which goes through a certain part of the arc, and then the next section is called Infinity Train, or Mugen Train. And instead of making an anime season, because it's really not that long of an arc, the arc's probably 20, 30
It
chapters.
would be like 3 or 4 episodes.
It'd be like 3 or 4 episodes for the whole arc. So they just made it a movie.
Okay.
So they fit the whole movie in this entire arc, which means you get the better animation, you get like
Yeah.
the full, like the whole 9 yards. And so all of a sudden, this anime that had taken over the world was like, by the way, we're not doing a season 2 yet. We're giving you a whole movie.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
And everybody, so it's canonical. This we had a discussion a couple weeks ago about like whether anime films hurt or help anime, and in cases where we talk about like Broly and then now Mugen Train with this going on, like they're a positive impact because it allows you to like experience canonical content, but other times the My Hero movies, like they're not really canon, but they're canon.
They're only like half canon.
They're like half canon. And so
They play by the rules of we need to be canon, but they don't actually allow themselves to make any effect on the universe.
yes.
I got you.
So
So it's like by the end of the movie, we need to undo everything that we did over the past 2 hours. So
the new Infinity Train movie is like a really interesting blend of the two, where it's like, no, like the entire thing is canon, and it's a movie that we set in the universe, and we just did an entire arc of the manga. So the context is everybody was like, well, now I gotta go see the next season of Demon Slayer. I guess I'm watching the movie, So, and it hasn't released in the US yet, so we'll see what happens when the US box office releases. If it does, we'll see how that goes.
Okay,
for context,
they're
where is
claiming
it?
early 2021. That's what they're claiming it will start showing.
Okay.
I would also not be surprised if it went to especially with the absorption of Crunchy,
Yep.
Yeah.
go directly to streaming if for some reason North America still has not beaten this pandemic, which I'm not putting any bets on.
We'll see what
9
happens.
months like this.
I was gonna say is particularly that I think what's gonna happen is they're just gonna drop it on both, because it doesn't hurt that, like, you know, for example, AMC, was it AMC or Regal that closed all their theaters forever,
I think it was AMC.
right? Like,
Wait, AMC closed
Yeah.
everything forever?
they dropped all of their movie theaters.
What?
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, I
That's
I
crazy.
think it was AMC, but it might have been Regal. I don't know. One of them
Regal
was
said-
not doing.
It was
particularly
Regal,
well.
so it was Regal.
Regal.
That was that. Okay.
Yeah, Regal wasn't doing particularly well going into the pandemic, and then they just realized that they were screwed.
So they
That's
shut down all.
sad.
Yeah. So, you know, now we have everybody else still have their theaters, but like there's no more, like, so like that's how it's going. So we'll see what happens with the rest of everything.
Granted, Regal wasn't really a good cinema chain, anyways.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
When I lived in Virginia Beach, there was a lot of Regal.
Oh, there's a lot of Regal in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Regal and AMC.
There was one near me when I was growing up, and it was like it was the cheaper theater. It was the dirty cloth seats, you don't want to go there if you can avoid it theater.
Yeah.
If you can
So-
afford to go to any other theater, just don't go there. But if you absolutely need to see this movie right now today, because it's the last day it's filming, it's showing.
And it's in that theater. It's like, yeah, go here.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So that's happening with that. And what happened? How much manga did it sell, Tim?
Oh yeah. They broke the 100 million mark finally.
Yeah.
The final volume was what it took for them to cross 100 million.
Which is not surprising.
And where are they in the movie rankings right now? Are they number 2 or number 3?
I'm pretty sure it's number 2, still behind Titanic.
No,
No,
they
it's
beat
behind
Titanic
Ghibli.
ahead
It's
of
behind
Titanic.
Ghibli.
and
It's
Spirited Away.
still. They have slowed down significantly.
Good. I mean, not good, but
Yeah. Bless. The other thing is this movie sold so many tickets.
Yeah.
That it surpassed every movie except Spirited Away in Japan for all
What?
time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They only it beat Titanic last week.
yeah, which was
like-
great because Paul was going on a rant about how it wouldn't beat Titanic, followed by Paul, it beat Titanic, right?
You know, it's fine.
That's crazy. Even during a pandemic, it's doing
Yeah.
that crazy.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing. Japan really hasn't
been
had
free.
Yeah, true.
you
Yeah.
know,
Japan's been free since like October.
mostly
They're kind
because
of just
they all wear their masks all the time anyway, though. So like that doesn't hurt. Like that's just Asian countries. They all just like boop.
Multiple like groups that like look at all of this the sales data in Japan have projected Demon Slayer to beat Spirited Away by the end of the year,
That's
I
crazy.
would not be surprised.
to be the number 1 movie of all time in Japan.
That's still
It's
crazy.
wild. The movie is so Demon Slayer is so popular in Japan that the Prime Minister has been caught making Demon Slayer quotes in official meetings.
What? That's badass.
Yeah,
It's so good.
I'm sorry. If you're Koyoharu Gotoge, you're over the moon about how this series is done.
Yep.
Like, you could retire. You done it. You done the thing.
Yeah.
So and for our last final piece of news before we jump into some more discussion, Tim talked to me about ReZero because
ReZero
season 2
back
part
on
2.
January 6th, boys.
Bless, I know you haven't seen this because you were gone again. But
Yeah.
did you watch season 1 of ReZero?
No.
Okay.
Not me.
So Tim, hit the context. Tim, do you or Nate want to hit the context for ReZero?
Oh, I'll give the best Eli 5 of this.
Okay, go.
So, ReZero focuses around our main protagonist, Natsuki Subaru, an absolute piece of fucking human garbage. He's a NEET, and he gets transported to this magical world where he meets Amelia, a beautiful half-elf, who looks a lot like an absolutely horrible woman named Satella, the Witch of Envy. And so she is shunned for her looks, and he's a piece of garbage. He immediately falls in love with her when she saves him while he's being attacked by some thugs, and decides to help her find her medallion that was stolen by a thief that he had seen not 5 minutes ago. And they go on these adventures, only to find out that Subaru has a special power that was gifted to him by said evil woman Satella. When he dies, he returns to certain checkpointed moments in time.
It's Groundhog Day.
Oh,
It's Groundhog Day, except
You hate the main character.
you hate the main character.
For the whole first season.
Season 1, you're gonna love every other person, and you're just gonna want to shoot Subaru.
Which happens a lot, so it's really satisfying.
Because he just dies making dumb decisions.
And I will put it this way: the death scenes are incredibly graphic.
oh, really?
I have a new fear of rabbits now.
You're not wrong.
Season 1, they do a really great job of like world building in the sense that like you get a scope of how big everything is and like what's going on, but it might as well be a kiddie pool in terms of depth. Season 2, on the other hand, you make about as much headway in the story as trying to watch Goofy on ice in a Disney short. He stands up, shit. He stands up. He eats shit. He stands up, eats shit over and over and over again.
Pretty much.
But you get to watch all of the underside of the icy lake develop, and then you're like, oh wow. So now we understand that the story is this deep, and you can't see how far my hands are apart. But we haven't gone anywhere. We've been in
Literally,
the
I'm
same
not to not exaggerate. You literally spend the entire first half of season 2 in the same 3-day loop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, granted,
So
my
I
favorite,
wanna
my
watch
favorite,
this, man.
my favorite part of it is the fact that like as you're going through this loop, you're learning with Subaru because he retains his memories from each set, and so he's figuring out more and more how to like get this problem to go. He tries different things and like stuff works or doesn't work, and like of course inevitably dies via something. Whether like and to like be very honest for people who like have warnings, he commits suicide a couple times to get out of a situation. Like it's not like he knows his power and he's willing to just yeet himself to reset. Like it's a little heavy at times, so
I got you.
be warned.
Yeah, the first episode of season 2, he literally slits his own throat.
Like it's a yeah.
Because he's like, I don't like the way this turned out.
Well,
I'm
to
gonna
be
go
fair,
back and try it again.
he's also
Yeah.
losing somebody he cares about in that moment. Like, and
Yeah.
he's like, I have to go back and save them. And that's the redeeming quality of Subaru you kind of ended up seeing. He's like, I'll do anything to save my friends. But he's like, you'll learn throughout season 2 what makes that important and why it matters. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything there. But
And
it's
if you've ever seen memes online of I Love Amelia, this is the show that all those memes are from.
The I Love Rem, I Love Amelia stuff, that's where this is
I
from.
love
yeah,
Amelia.
Rems from ReZero. So that's what that is. So
Yes.
season
My
2
waifu.
part 2 is coming out January 6th. We officially got the trailer and the teaser and the opening, which is like mwah. It's gonna get fun. It's gonna get fun. I'm excited. Like this was the show that Nate hated season 1. Did not want to watch season 2 in the slightest. Like
I walked into it saying how much I hated this show because the main character is a piece of garbage.
I had
I
to.
really like ReZero now after season 2, part 1.
I was like, Nate, just give it a fair shot.
And I did.
Bruce sucks a lot
did.
less than season 2, and he does. He sucks way less. Honestly, you get to moments where you're like, you genuinely feel you're gonna feel bad about how much you hated him at moment.
Yeah.
No, I
Because
still don't.
you'll see those moments where you'll look back and you'll go, okay, now I kind of understand why he was a piece of garbage.
He grows as
doesn't-
a character, though.
he does
a
that. He
lot.
does grow as a character, and that's the important part.
He
So-
grows as a character, and it's beautiful.
So you'll enjoy
Same
that
thing
one when you
was
have time.
What I was telling you
yeah.
when people were watching Attack on Titan season 2, and I was like, guys, I swear it gets better.
So the guys, that's gonna be it for our news this week. We kind of tangented a wee bit.
There's a lot of really big news this week.
That's
though.
true. There's a lot of big
It's a
news.
lot to talk about.
So let's jump into just the conversation with Bless here. Tim, ask your questions because I know you had a couple questions.
Okay, putting me on the spot like that.
Yes.
Not fair. Not
'Cause-
nice. Fuck
'cause-
you, Paul, you're going first.
What do you mean? This was your idea. I have to have time to think of my questions because it was your idea.
I'm just here to participate and throw sass and throw in a light novel title at the end.
I like sass.
The sass is the best.
All right. So, what got you into voice acting in the first place?
Sure. So like I hate it when because like I'm not a real voice actor guy. Like I'm just a dude that's just like trying to do it. And like, you know what I mean? But like I have had some success in some things, and I grew up on like the, you know, like the golden age of Cartoon Network, where like you had like Johnny Bravo's and like the animation studio that had the Powerpuff Girls, Dex
Yep.
Labs, and then you had like some Nicktoons that were awesome, and then like stuff on like Disney Channel, and I grew up with that, and then Toonami. I was like, oh man, like I would love to be that, you know, being that like sixth grader that stays up late and finds Trigun. You're like, oh man, that's so cool. And then you see like Spike Spiegel and anyway, so like that moment in time left an imprint on me, and I went into radio. And as soon as I got in radio, I was like, oh well, this is cool. Like my favorite thing was to like make jingles and like liners. So like just spend time in an audio editor. And I eventually got hired full time to be a production director, and I was producing like all the commercials. So like hired 19 straight out of high school, and I'd be writing copy, and like there was no like real like way to learn from that. And anyway, I just loved writing those like cheesy Halloween ads and Christmas ads, and like try to make it, you know, like a HBO, you know, direct to TV, you know, event. And I moved to Virginia Beach for a radio job, and then I luckily got a gig with an agency with Wasteland 2, and I got to be like a random NPC, like a Ascension McDade, I think was a character. And yeah, and since that I don't know, I've been chasing it since.
That's fun.
Yep.
Okay, so then what are your characteristic favorite voices that you grew up hearing? Like what are the voices that you like listened to and were like, "Oh my god, you're incredible."
Oh, like it's so funny because it's the like I mean this with all the love. It's the opposite for me because
Really?
I grew up loving the voice of Vegeta. I mean, like Vegeta's so cool, and Vegeta's my favorite character ever. But then you realize, like, oh, dude, he's Yamcha. Wait, he's Piccolo. Wait, he's, you know, like he's like I think like in like later things, like he's literally everything. But like even in the original takes, like he's Jace. You know,
Yep.
he's everything. And so like as a kid I would say that, but now I'm like you can't unhear his voice because like you boot up what was that game that the makers of Borderlands made? It was it didn't do too well, like they shut it down recently.
Bulletstorm?
Not Bulletstorm, it was like it was compared to Overwatch at the time. Battleborn, yeah. And so like it's funny because like there's a vampire with like samurai. You're like, oh, that's Chris Sabat. He's just doing Vegeta. You know, like you could hear that character everywhere, and like you're watching like Tokyo Ghoul, and like, and you're like, wait, that's you know, like that's Chris Sabat, man.
Yeah.
So I would say 100% Chris Sabat, and then Jim Cummings. You know, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. And, yeah, man, I could go on and on about that. Mark Hamill.
Yes. Oh, his Joker. Oh my goodness.
Classic Joker.
Yeah.
Still the best Joker.
Like he will forever be my Joker.
For sure.
Heath Ledger's my Joker. But like Mark Hamill's like a close second.
Yeah.
Like
but I'm just a nerd when it comes to that stuff, and yeah.
Dude. Okay, Tim, now I gotta ask you, because I don't think I've ever actually asked you that question. Who's your favorite voice actor? Or voice that you can associate with an actor?
Huh. I'd have to like go back.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of shows that I grew up on that I was like, I never went and looked and found the VA.
Yeah.
from the cartoon, but I just like I can hear the voice and I'll like hear it on a you know, an ad or something, and I'm like, it's there. Like Johnny Bravo's voice to me, all like I could always just pick it out in like random games. Like if I was playing and I heard it, I was like, Johnny
Yeah.
Bravo, and I would go
Yeah.
find the NPC and just stand in front of them, hoping that they were going to give me more random voice lines.
Yeah, and the voice actor that Johnny Bravo did a bunch of Target ads too.
Yeah.
And like and then you have the guy Tom Kane. He's the voice of like Professor X, and like he's the voice of like Yoda for some things Star Wars.
Yeah.
And he was like the Walmart guy for the longest time.
Who did
Oh my god! And now that I think about it, I can hear it, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh
because it's
no.
kind of like a off-brand, a Morgan Freeman, when
Yeah.
he talks like an old man, like here at Walmart,
that just like out of curiosity, because I don't know if you know, like what's the difference in voice acting work versus like large commercial residuals?
Oh, I know nothing of that.
Okay.
I think like so once you get to certain I can tell you this if you want a residual thing.
Yeah.
This year I got to be able to voice something for a SpongeBob mobile game. And so
I saw that.
it was just by word of mouth on Twitter. And so he sent me copy. He's like, hey, this is just for a kids app. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, wait, it's SpongeBob. And so I'm like, this must be for like an Instagram ad. And so I sent it back. He was like, how much does this cost or whatever? Like, because I don't have like a management or like anyone to negotiate. So I just Googled, how much should this cost? And it was like this thing that was like, oh, for like social media, asked for 300. So I was like, well, I'll 150, right? And he was like, all right, done. You're hired. Here's the check, basically.
Yeah.
And then he was like, hey, this is gonna be airing on Nickelodeon all month. And I'm like, what? Because then the union standards is 1,500 for that. And so yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. And so that taught me to know that you gotta have management, because when you talk about like union rates or like standards, you have to have management or people walk over you. And I think like once you get to a level of like Walmart, Target, Kohl's, we sell PlayStation 5s too. All that's like through Screen Guilds. And so I would say like if you are the voice of Mercedes, you're making millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Nate, favorite characters voiced?
Well, that's just an unfair question because I watch a lot of sub.
That's fair.
The one that I can always pick out that I always look for is either Matt Mercer or David Vincent.
Matt Mercer
because he's DM incarnate.
Yes.
So he's very easy to pick out and everything. And David Vincent because he's Gilgamesh.
Oh my god.
So when you hear
Gilgamesh's
him in anything,
voice,
he's Gilgamesh. So
him and we were talking about this when we were talking about who we wanted to voice people in the English dub of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like David Vincent, and then I don't remember who voices Archer. Because I'm like, Archer's voice is also one of those voices where you're just like,
I can look it up.
Oh,
David Vincent for me would make an absolutely flawless Nanami.
That's fair.
Like, just hearing him talk about not wanting to work overtime in the Gilgamesh voice would be chef's kiss. Like, perfecto. I would watch the Jujutsu Kaisen dub just for...
No, he also was Archer. He is Gilgamesh and Archer. Never mind.
Really?
Yeah, David Vincent's both.
Yeah, okay, so it's just David
Vincent.
Vincent.
It's just David Vincent. That's fine.
That's our number.
So fun fact, the dub that I always make fun of, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, he's the narrator in it.
Oh my.
So the very beginning of every episode is Gilgamesh yelling at you about what's going on. And it's so entertaining.
That makes me want to watch the dub, except for the fact that I know that the rest of it is like just poorly.
It's got a bunch of amazing voice actors, but it's just so like.
Yeah.
Like is that the only
Done.
way to describe it? Is that like they just didn't have the right they weren't given the right direction for the lines?
It doesn't feel like it was
It doesn't.
directed well.
The only other thing I want to like point at people just to go find and watch for voice acting amusement is
Mhm.
if you've ever seen the Dragon Ball cast voiceover classic movies.
Yes, that's one of my favorite videos on the internet.
Oh my God bless if you haven't seen
We're
this.
going to
it's
show you
hilarious.
this during the ad
I'm gonna
break
show you this
because
during
it is
the ad
one of my
break.
favorite videos ever made. I'll find it right now.
Wait, what's it called?
You have to find. You can't even find it on YouTube anymore because it got pulled
Oh.
because of copyright stuff
Oh.
at one point. So like Nate's gonna have to find it. Literally, they take the Dragon Ball characters in voiceover classic movies. You literally get the Independence Day speech from King Kai.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I've seen
Like,
it. Yeah.
If you haven't
I had,
seen
like,
it,
the guy that voiced Freeze at the time too.
do
and he
Silence
does,
of the Lambs.
Oh yeah.
So
my
good.
Chianti.
Fava beans. Like, so like those are the fun things that I wish existed more of.
Yeah.
You know, because like it's so much fun when you get to see iconic people that you like listened to all your childhood play over fun stuff. Like it was like when,
Yeah.
not to get political, but it was when Mark Hamill was reading Trump's tweets as the Joker. Like,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care. It was hilarious. Like just seeing a voice that you know reading over like things that you've already read and know came out of somebody else's mouth is just a fantastic time.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. If I could watch Goku and Vegeta do the Anakin I have the high ground moment, that would probably make my life.
It's over, Vegeta. I have the high ground.
Yeah. Chris is about going, I have the high ground.
That'd be
Okay.
I'd pay for that.
Oh, 100%. I'd pay for that.
So,
that needs to be a
do
petition.
you know their agents' numbers? Like, who do we have to talk to for this one?
I would give up my firstborn child just for that.
Oh my
I'll give up my
goodness.
firstborn child for a lot less. So.
Oh no, stop. Please, no.
Oh no.
No. I think I'm trying to think of like back to my favorite voice actors. And like I don't know.
It's hard.
Sasuke's
it's like-
Sasuke's voice actor is really good. He does exactly what he's been told to do really well. But Kakashi's too much fun. Like Kakashi's
I don't.
deadpan tone until he's not deadpanning is perfect. Chris Sabat is Chris Sabat. Vegeta, like bless like you. Vegeta's my favorite character. I don't know. I've always loved the anti-hero who becomes kind of like the hero in the end.
Yeah.
Like, but is like entirely like, for lack of a better way of saying it, more drivenly violent.
Yeah.
Because they're willing to do what it takes more times than not. They don't have this weird moral line that's like, I can't. It's like the Batman not killing thing. I'm just like, why?
Right.
Like Superman, like that's one of the reasons I prefer Superman over Batman. Superman's like, no, like if I have to, like it's gonna get that's what I have to do. You know, like Vegeta does it, Sasuke does it. You know, those are my favorite. Bleach, the captain. Oh my goodness.
So I did have to look up my favorite ones that
Yes.
always sticks with me is Steve Bloom, who was Spike Spiegel in
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop. Because that is one of the best dubs that I've ever watched.
Yeah,
Like it's just so well done.
yeah.
I think I've only ever seen 3 episodes of Cowboy Bebop subbed, and
It's just
the
weird.
rest were all dubbed
Yeah.
because Steve
It's
Bloom just does such a good job.
it's such an important. I'm realizing now more that I'm also doing this with video game characters too.
hmm
Like
Yeah. There's
uh,
bleed over for sure.
100%. Like Christopher Judge, I think is his name. He's the one who came and did Kratos for God of War. Like,
Yes.
oh my goodness, like his performance was incredible. Like nothing short of immaculate at some level. You know, like things like that. Other ones. Neil. Oh, what's his name? Neil from Last of Us. Who did him again?
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker. Like incredible performances on all of that. And like we're starting to get some of that in movies too with Avatar, you know, stuff like Avatar, you know, and moving into more of the CG captions like Josh Brolin doing Thanos. Like we're
Yeah.
starting to kind of get those too as well. Like some of Thanos's lines are just so good and so well done, you know, on another character, you know. So I'm interested to see when we start blurring that line, you
Yeah.
know, because it's
I mean, speaking of game voice actors that were just absolutely
Mhm.
top tier. This year alone, like Darren Korb in Hades and Logan Cunningham in Hades
Yes.
were amazing.
I don't know if
Darren Korb as
never played
Zagreus is a
Hades.
voice I will never forget.
yeah.
And Logan Cunningham's actual Hades is just
It's so good.
Boy.
bone chilling
Boy.
at times.
Boy.
Hearing some of those lines,
It-
especially in the middle of a run.
dude, it's so good. Like, so as a Greek mythology nerd, right? Like, I have to turn my brain off when I'm playing Hades a bit because like they deviate from the story so hard. Like it's a like sharp left turn at the middle of the intersection, but at the same time, like the acting is done so well that you kind of just get lost in it. You're like, oh, that makes sense. You know, Athena shows up and she's like, cousin. And you're like, whoa, hey, like, how you
I mean,
doing?
technically, that's how it works.
You know, like, and so you're going through this whole thing and you have all these moments where it's just believable. Like Thanatos popping up in the middle of a run is just like, oh, like that makes sense. Like, you know,
Chris Sapphire as Thanatos was
like slightly not caring, but like still like slightly argumentative while maintaining an air of like, I'm just here because I gotta be here. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it takes such skill, and I forever will, especially after watching some of these documentaries where you watch people like Christopher Judge play these parts, you know, in full performance gear, and like you had like crying as he's like delivering this line. You're like, oh my lord, you know.
Like, have you ever watched when they were doing recording for the scenes of the original Last of Us?
Yeah,
Yeah. Like they set up in full gear doing full mocap work while recording lines. Like
Yeah.
they obviously dubbed over it later for more effect, but they did the full mocap for all of it.
Yeah.
It was insane.
and they're
Yeah.
starting to do
And,
that
like-
with games too, like Aloy.
Yeah.
Yeah. so you get the full
Hellblade.
emotion.
Hellblades, I think, is one of the best perform. I don't remember who did Senna's Sacrifice, but like her voice actor and the mocap for that was, it's chilling, you know, because you're getting
Same for the Avengers game that just came out. That was heavily mocapped,
yeah,
like heavily.
like all of these are incredible performances that we're starting to see like that kind of stuff blend over into the anime world too. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's one of those industries that I want to learn more about. So
Oh, wait for us to get on a tangent.
Yeah,
to
we
talk about
Ooh, man, it's
Hey,
fun.
but you know what? Honestly,
fun
that feels like our podcast at its heart.
Yep.
Is
exists in the form of tangent.
We just tangent excessively.
what's a topic, anyways?
What's a topic, guys? We're a little over 50 minutes into this almost, so we're gonna take our ad break here. You guys can hear from our sponsors real quick. Check it out, and we hope you have a fantastic pre-Christmas weekend, and in all the prep. Stay safe. See you in a minute. Cool. Little ad break. Real
come
quick.
up with a too.
Ad break.
Topic for Kevin yelled at me there. He's like, you know how expensive minerals are? I was like, you're letting us run the podcast on the Rare Drop Network. I don't know why this is a problem.
What does
Yeah, I
matter?
was gonna say like
So anyway, do we want to start with My Hero and just yeet? I'm down with that.
I'm easy.
Yeah.
I'm easy. Do I have time to use the restroom real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah, go.
oh yeah,
You
yeah.
have as much time as you
Alright.
need.
The ad, we can take as much time on the ad break as we want. We just cut it all anyways.
Oh, I gotcha.
It gets all cut in post.
This is all edited afterwards.
Uh,
Guys, thanks for chilling and hanging and watching the episode and being a fantastic group of friends. Thanks for supporting us. We're going to start just going live on YouTube every single week, we think, because YouTube algorithm is a thing. And we want to start
Yeah,
doing
and-
these things.
with that, going into the new year, we're going to address the Patreon and adjust some things for you guys.
All right, I'm back.
So
Welcome back.
welcome back.
Hey,
We're
So
gonna try to do Patreon.
oh yeah, we got to figure out what to do with the Patreon.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Yes, it is.
We'll have to have a sit down meeting and talk.
Well,
about that.
I think honestly, I think the best thing would be to do like weekly, like 5-10 minute reactions, like they're doing with Mando Minute, except for like the day, and just do like a quick like 10-minute sit down talk about this week's stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it be like the Noblesse episode. Oh, by the way, Noblesse gets good. They can confirm.
Tim, I did just binge watch all of Noblesse this weekend.
It's slow.
did get good.
Okay,
It's
I'll binge it.
slow. It's slow for the first 3 episodes, and then like you start getting like Frankenstein's backstory and like what's going on with the nobles, and that's when everything starts to like pick up. And it's just like satisfyingly good. It's not like a God of High School where it's like balls to the wall every episode, but it's just like a satisfying role almost.
Mhm.
So, this week's chapter of Solo Leveling was incredible. Like, oh, we haven't talked to you about it yet, Tim, have we?
Oh, the new solo leveling. chapter?
Yeah, we've been talking about it like back and forth this whole week just because of everything that went on.
Yeah. I
Well,
haven't
and by
read it.
Paul means that every single night I'm laying in bed about to fall asleep. You're like, I thought of a new solo leveling this week.
There's a new thing that's connected to this thing that was connected to this thing.
Paul, cool. He's like, did you know this? I was like, Paul, that was obvious from like 10 episodes ago. Let me go to sleep.
Well,
He does
see,
bring some new stuff to the table, though. I will concede that.
Yeah.
It's just very funny.
and then the My Hero chapter from this week was incredible. I have
Oh, the My Hero chapter. Okay, let's be real. The last 24 My Hero chapters have been off the fucking charts. Like, I don't know how Horikoshi seems to just keep topping himself every fucking week.
it's ridiculous. Like, okay, to give you an idea, Bless, peak My Hero, what I consider peak My Hero is like the sections like where Lemillion does like and goes and fights class 1A, like
Mhm.
that section, peak My Hero. All Might versus One for All, peak My Hero. Like All Might versus Nomu, peak My Hero, right? We've literally been reading peak My Hero for the past like 30 chapters.
12 weeks.
Really?
It's insane.
The arc that, so not this next arc, but the arc after that. So arc 6,
It doesn't stop.
I legitimately have been like, My Hero is the first thing on Sunday mornings that I read.
Yeah.
It comes out at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and I have an alarm set for 10:55 so that I'm just ready to read it.
Yeah. It's insane. Like
Damn.
it gets
I
even
have
like
not It's hyped for something in a long time.
you remember like the Bakugo versus Midoriya fight? Like
Yeah.
it's like that kind of like tension and action every single week. Like it doesn't stop. It just goes
Damn.
and goes
And like
and goes.
Horikoshi's just pulling out all the stops. He's like, "Oh," and I don't want to spoil anything. That's the worst part. It's like he's just like, "Oh, this thing? Yeah, okay, now we're resolving that. This thing? Oh, this thing that you've been wondering for years? Here you go. Finally you can have that. I'm going to let you have this morsel."
It's ridiculous. Well, my favorite part about it is like as he's doing that, we've like it's almost like every season's almost like we've had a dedicated like hero arc, villain arc, hero arc, villain arc. We've hit the point where they're finally like smashing together. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
because with the end of the arc that you're about to finish, like it's the end of the hero arc. Like that whole arc was dedicated to like Todoroki, Bakugo, and Midoriya. And then Eri, right? Now we have Eri introduced into the mix. This next arc is like all villain shit. Like it's like what's going on with Shomura, the League, what's going on with Overhaul's remnants, like what's going on with Tomura, like all of that. Like you get condensed into like this next little section while they're also dabbling in what's going on with the work studies with the heroes.
I
you know?
gotcha.
And then we also get a lot more Hawks for reasons that I won't spoil. But like it's it's so good. And then
Put
like
out a lot
you
of
hit the
bird
next
babies.
season
My
and then it's
favorite
just
characters.
who Hawks?
I love Hawks so much.
I loved Hawks, then I hated Hawks, and now I love Hawks again.
Okay, even in the section where I'm supposed to hate Hawks, I kind of love Hawks.
I mean, like it's not like a hate. It's more like a I really don't like what you've done. It's like I understand your reasoning, and I can get it.
Not a Subaru problem. It's like I get why you're doing it. I don't have to like it. And I really don't fucking like it, so stop. Keep going. I need to see how this resolves.
Yeah.
I just needed to make sure that we actually had a like general timeline of when we were getting season 5.
Yes.
So
Quick points for stuff that Bless has missed since March. Misfit at Demon King Academy.
Missed that.
Hands
Sure.
down, no questions asked. If ReZero was not number 1 and we didn't have
If ReZero had premiered during the season it was supposed to, Misfit would have been the number 1 show of the summer.
it wouldn't even be close. And to put it like in perspective, nobody expected anything out of the show. Like
When we did our first like overview episode of what like we were going to watch that season, the descriptor on my anime list was wrong.
very
And so
wrong.
we read it and thought it was going to be satire. And
It
then
is
was like,
satire, but not that
No,
kind of
different
satire.
kind of satire. When you hear Misfit at Demon King Academy, you're like, okay, so these guys are training to be the Demon King. And the Misfit is probably absolutely fucking useless, right?
Right.
We got One Punch
No.
Man reincarnated.
He makes Saitama look like a little bitch.
Kind of. To put this in
Like, I should
perspective,
be 100% honest.
episode 2. No, it's just episode 1 because like we're not spoiling anything crazy. He literally is the demons are like, okay, we have like a one-on-one battle in which like you have to prove your combat ability to like that you're closer to like being the founding ancestor and his ideals and all these things. This kid tries to be all like toughy goey with him, and he literally snaps, and the dude literally
deletes.
explodes.
Is he like? Is he?
And then he goes, "Hold on, I'm gonna beat you with something even better." And he just stands there and resonates his heartbeat into sonic waves that literally rip this dude's body apart. And then he's like, "I refuse to submit. Like, you'll have to kill me." So he kills him, and then he snaps and brings him back to life and goes, "You again?" And just
How you
starts
feeling?
snapping and killing him and bringing him back. And
And
everybody.
then, like, way later on, there's some like racist lady who's like, only pure blood demons are allowed here, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna change your genetic code so you're not pure blood anymore. Get over it.
Oh, what? That's actually
It's
awesome.
wild, dude. Like
He kind of
he literally spins a castle on his finger like a basketball and then throws it.
Throws it.
it's exactly as wild as we're making it sound out
Like-
to be.
Sounds badass.
It's wild. It's a trip. He's incredible. His parents are even better. Last season was the season of like parents being adorable. It was fantastic.
Yeah, summer was the season of good parents in
Yep.
anime, which was awesome.
It was hilarious. It's so funny.
Wholesome parents.
oh,
Every time
oh.
he brings a girl home, it's like, oh my god, you got a wife?
You got another wife?
Oh my god, you brought a husband?
it's hilarious.
We're not judging, but like,
I just need to know. I think my favorite part of that whole section was this is how ridiculous his character is like a satirical, absurd character. He makes a tsundere confess her love in the first episode she exists in.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the artwork. Is it a waifu show?
Not really. It's like a satirical One Punch Man in which you have characters that you're like, they're really cute. I like them. And then like, because he's
It-
really not interested in any of it. He's like, he's not romantically inclined.
Like I mean, his very small harem has 2 waifus in it, but
You get the
he
third.
doesn't really acknowledge them as that. He just treats them as these are my friends, and I take care of my friends.
I gotcha.
He's Big Daddy, like not in a sexual
Daddy.
sense. He's like you are all of my best friends and thus like descendants. So I'm here to take care of you as a beloved friend. Like,
It's
and
not
they're all
my
like,
God.
you guys.
God.
I am your benevolent god, basically. It's an incredible series. Like, I was not expecting anything, and literally every week we were like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So-
it was a great ride, honestly.
Did you miss Rising of the Shield Hero?
Yeah, I definitely missed
Okay. That's real good too. There's a
That's
lot.
19 episodes of I wish that this shit would end, and then 5 episodes of it ended. I'm so happy.
that.
In the best way, though.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, get revenge,
makes it
get
all worth
revenge,
it.
get revenge for 19 episodes. And then he gets the revenge, and you're like, ah, yes.
That full reckoning.
So,
And now we get
that's-
2 seasons of it coming soon.
so that was real good. What else? I assume you missed Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 then?
I missed that.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I missed a lot, man.
No, dude.
I feel bad.
I understand. No. Life is
It's
important. Life is important. I
Is
think. I'm trying to think.
Tower of God and
Oh. Okay, to give you an idea of how good Tower of God was, it's the only reason we have this podcast.
Wait, no cap. That's
No cap.
crazy.
That's not a
so-
joke.
Like,
So
I watched the first episode and was like, oh, it's on Webtoon. So I binged 474 chapters in
No,
3
you
days.
didn't.
I'm dead serious.
did.
Ask Tim.
If I went far enough back in my DMs, I could go find it.
Because then I
Because,
forced
like-
him to read it because he was already, like, he'd read part of it already because he was on Webtoon before I was. And I was like, you have to catch up with me. You have to catch up with me. And then him and I forced Nate to read it. And the reason this whole thing started is because Nate was tired of DMing us separately. So we made a group chat to DM about Tower of God. And then it was us just memeing back and forth about the whole series because Tim and I had already read all the way through it. So Nate would just give us periodic updates about where he was and we'd be able to laugh at things. Allah.
like me getting attached to characters.
He got attached to 2 characters and we knew they were going to die. So every single time he'd mentioned, he'd be like, oh man, I'm really loving how they're turning out. Tim and I would DM each other separately and be like, rip, oops, oof, oh well. Like,
Ouch, owie, never forget.
and then they died. And then we spent 20 minutes.
It was like 5 or 10 minutes, honestly, just constantly going back, sending just sad reaction gifs in the Discord DM. That was it, with no context.
No context.
Oh no.
It was great. And so from that, it was like, well, we're in here talking about anime and shit for like an hour and a half at least every night. Why don't we just do a podcast thing? And so then we built the brief and I sent it to Kevin. He was like, yeah, just do it. We were like, really? We were like, really? Like, no kappa? No kappa? He was like, yeah, go. I was like, okay, cool. Here we are. Here we are 20 episodes later. So
for Tower of God, one thing I try to do on Twitch because there's a creator on Twitch that I really love. His name's Kit Boga, and what he
Oh,
does
love
is
Kit.
he
Yeah,
prank calls scammers, and I the reason why I bring that up is I always thought that was like super unique. So the one thing I try to do was like try to do a session where you would take like an anime trailer or like a scene, and then you would gut all the audio out.
Yeah.
Because like when you have a trailer, you just have like the master trailer. You can't like, oh, I'll just take out this voice. You have to go and like redo it. And I would do that on stream. It never really did well, but it like, you know, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then I would redub. I did the redub for Tower of God.
I remember.
And I just did all the male voices, and then I did that with Jujutsu no Kaisen.
Jujutsu
Oh, yeah,
Kaisen.
Kaisen,
Jujutsu
yeah.
Kaisen.
Which, if you haven't started watching that,
That's
I
another
do.
really
That
good
is
one
this season's
season. I hear
breakout
it's
show.
really
That
good.
is this season's breakout show, hands down.
yeah, I had started reading the manga like a month and a half before they announced the anime. And I was like, oh, well, it's like pretty good. And then I got further into it and I was like, oh, goodness. And then I saw it was Mappa doing it. I was like, oh, no, it's going to be eye candy and it's going to be great. And
Yep.
the
And it
manga
was.
is so good.
The
And then
manga's
the anime I think is a contender for anime of the year
Oh,
for animation. Like,
Yeah.
Mappa has bested themselves in every single show that they've put out this year.
God of High School is
Like-
incredible. But
And they're
Jujutsu
also
Kaisen puts
doing
it,
Attack on Titan right now.
and they're doing Attack on Titan right now. So like they have the big 3 from this season are all Mappa titles.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then they're going to be doing Chainsaw Man when that comes out. So
Chainsaw Man.
we also get
That's
Slime
why-
Sakai next season. Season 2.
That's right. We do
Oh,
find.
have you heard the good word of that time I was reincarnated as a slime?
No.
So, a businessman, right? Working his best life, gets stabbed
in the street?
in the street while saving his coworker, and so he pulls over his coworker and he says, "Delete everything on my computer." His coworker gives his computer a nice bath. This does happen.
This actually
And so
happens.
While he's dying, he's going through like, man, I'm dying a virgin at like 40. Like I'm like a great sage or something. And like everything that he says is there's like a voice in his head that's like great sage ability activated. He's like, man, now it's really cold. Probably because I'm losing blood. It's like cold resistance, heat resistance activated. And then he resurrects. And he's just a slime. But he has
no,
basically
look,
Kirby powers.
Think literally like video game slime. Think like literal boing boing slime.
Yeah.
Slime.
No eyes,
No eyes.
no way to talk, nothing. So he just starts walking around. He's like, "Oh, I can suck on stuff and I'll eat it. I'm gonna eat all these magic rocks." And he just eats every single bit of magic in a cave. And he's like, "Wonder why there was a bunch of magic here. Oh, look, it's a giant great dragon." And the tsundere dragon is like, "Eat me, daddy." So then,
because Dragon's imprisoned.
Oh yeah.
Dragon is imprisoned by like a set of like humongous magic, and like they're like, well, I can't get through it. I can't figure out how to break it. So I guess Great Sage, could you like figure out, because he has Great Sage in his head. It's literally like a mini AI supercomputer inside his head. It's hilarious. Like, and he's like, well, Great Sage, could you like figure this out? And Sage is like, well, if you gave me enough time, yeah, I could figure out how to break it. And so Dragon goes, well, I guess you'll just have to eat me. So that Great Sage can like spend enough time, because I don't want you to just sit here in this cave with me for millennia. And so he eats the dragon. Just whoop! Dragon is
so
now inside
everything-
tiny little slime.
Everything that he eats, he gets the powers of.
He's Kirby.
Yes.
Yeah, essentially he's Kirby. So by the
To be
time
fair,
he's
Bam
leaving
is
the-
Kirby too, but that's an entirely different discussion.
another conversation. By the time he's leaving this cave in like episode 2, he's the most overpowered character in the entire world. And so
Because he's
it's-
eating monsters on the way. He's like, he gets like silk. He's like, oh, indestructible silk. That's cool. I guess I can make indestructible silk things and swing like Spider-Man now. And like, yup.
It is just like a comedy show that's just ridiculous and fun. And like he basically ends up running his own nation
Of
because
monsters.
That's what he can do.
Oh, and he's such a strong magical being, he can name other magical beings and give them like level ups and upgrades to their power, because he's technically sharing magical power with them. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, so the dragon is one of the 4 like gods of disaster in this universe, and decides, well, to name the slime. So he names the slime, and the slime immediately becomes part of that dragon's family line and gains his powers. So that's how he has the magical ability to eat the dragon, but then he also has that insane amount of mana so that he can just continuously name other beings, and named monsters become stronger.
It's a thing. It's amazing.
So like
It's such a fun show.
And named monsters become hotter.
That's true.
Way hotter.
Like old man grandpa becomes like giant bodybuilder, like
oh, he's a
orc,
beefcake.
and he's like, he goes from Mister, can you please save our village to I am Mr. Chief. Like it's a whole.
Yeah,
What happened to the chief? Oh, he's over there, and it's like the damn Hulk. So
It's hilarious. He's
have
like,
to
did
look
I
that
do
up,
that?
man.
He's like, yeah, you named him. And he's like, wait, So
Yeah.
I can name other things too. It's like, yeah. Like
It's called That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. It has the weirdest name, and I thought it was going to be the shittiest show ever, but it is.
that's
Oh,
been like
it's one of
that's
them.
been like
Watch
the
it,
last
man.
2 seasons has been like, these names are really weird. Oh my god, the show is good.
Yeah, except for the MILF Sakai. That was
Oh.
just a bad show.
Yeah.
However, on the topic of the MILF Sakai,
Nope, we don't need to go anywhere.
all I was going to talk about, the illustrator for the original manga was hired to design one of the new HoloLive Indonesia VTubers.
Yeah.
And you can tell immediately when you look at her that she was drawn by the MILF Sakai illustrator.
Okay, so we need to get back into this episode because we spent like
Honestly,
10
I
minutes.
figured we were already back into the
I know.
episode.
I thought about that too. So like, what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna go, hey guys, welcome back to episode 21 with Bless. We're gonna keep talking. I delayed it. We're just gonna start from back whenever Nate feels like is a good starting point, and we're just gonna be like, whatever.
I was already like, I'm gonna scrub through this and find a good starting point for when we're talking.
So
So,
it's just been good. I think that's the stuff that you've missed since March is the breakout stuff. There may be like a couple others, like I'm trying to think. I personally enjoyed. I don't think you missed Wise Man's Grandchild. Like it's not like incredible, but like it's
nobody
okay.
missed it.
Nobody missed it.
It's
Nobody
like
missed it.
it's a turn your brain off show, and even then, like there are better options for that.
Haikyuu came back, so if you're good, like if you're watching sports anime, Haikyuu is back. I'm gonna go by
What
seasons.
shows did I absolutely love for no reason?
Black Clover was actually really good up until
No, it
its
wasn't.
ending.
Oh, you know what show we didn't talk about?
What?
That was absolutely incredible and we watched week to week and always talked about?
What?
Rent a Girlfriend?
Rent a Girlfriend.
That's
Rent
true.
a Girlfriend.
Rent a Girlfriend.
It's exactly what you think what it sounds like. A dude gets lonely and tries to rent a girlfriend and falls in love with her.
Does it work out?
Surprisingly well, but he ends up running a harem at the end of the day.
Accidentally.
Yeah, because his ex-girlfriend is a bitch, and the moment that she sees he's happy with someone else, she's like, I need to ruin his life.
Oh,
Oh, sing Yesterday for me.
We need to stop recommending that show to people. Not because it's not amazing, because it is.
It made, that show hit me in the soul.
Yeah.
Like that show is so down to earth and so real that it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Like so basically it's just a slice of life. It's got a love funnel. And so basically
Do I have to explain the love funnel real quick to him?
We'll get there in
Okay.
a moment. Like the main character, like all of the interactions and all the characters are so well written and so real that in the first episode when the main character goes up to the girl that he likes and he's like, I've liked you. I really want this to work out between us. And she just looks at him and says, can't we just be friends? You feel it in your soul.
Because like she looks
Like-
sad about it too. It's not like it's like a dismissal. It's like a very sad, like, you're my best friend. I don't really want to like change that kind of
It's
sad. And you're like,
bru-
like suffocated. So
It
it's
just-
that kind of show. It's so
I
good.
gotcha.
It's
And
so
so
good.
there's a girl that's into him. He's into this girl, and this girl's into a guy who's dead. So that's why it's a love funnel, because one of them's 6 feet down.
That's
Yeah,
a good way to.
That's the darkest joke we've made on this podcast.
I think the worst part is we make that joke
All the
multiple
time.
Yeah.
across 22 episodes.
It's been a good time.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, that was a mistake.
So let's jump
I'll take the fall for that
into
one.
My Hero.
Okay.
Where do we start? Because oh my goodness. Like,
Do we want to just talk about season 4?
I mean, we can.
Because the overhaul arc was really, really good in spots, and then moderately okay.
Yeah.
For the rest of it, that's how I felt about it. I don't know.
Well, I think
I think
I-
that's also the fact that I have a manga reader's view on it. So, as someone,
Yeah.
Bless, how did you feel about season 4 of My Hero?
So like I don't know. I thought I enjoyed everything. I don't think I quite finished it, because there's like a couple episodes that because I was watching it in March, and that's when the dub ran out. And I don't know, I thought like I don't know, I didn't really have any qualms with it. I enjoyed it.
You didn't get to like feel the emotional impact of like the last episode and like the concert, and like those are two really hard hitting emotional episodes. In all reality, the other stuff is like great little world building in between.
I feel like the Lemillion section
Yeah.
right during the overhaul fight is also an incredibly hard hitting.
Well, it's more the I think it's more the night.
It's just different.
It's more the Night Eye thing than Lemillion, I think, at some level.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like Night
sure,
Eye's
yeah.
a little bit more emotionally like it's one thing to lose your quirk and be like, oh, and it's another thing to lose your quirk and then your mentor like sacrifice himself for you and the city and everything else, while simultaneously realizing that his quirk was like not all he thought it was going to be, because like there are people who can alter destiny itself. Like it's a whole thing. Like that was my emotional impact of that season, was watching, you know, Night Eye come to the realization that like not everything he saw had to come to pass, and that he was happy about it as he was dying, and you were like, my heart, my emotions.
Yeah,
I mean, some lessons have to be learned the hard way. Normally, we don't ask people to die to do that, but
Subaru learns lessons the hard way a lot.
fucking bunnies.
I
New
think
horror for rabbits.
the animation in that overhaul fight was just.
I mean, Studio Bones is just kind of great.
Yeah.
I was talking to Paul about it this week, but like Studio Bones is famous for doing One Punch Man season 1, where they animated all of the fight scenes in 60 frames per second. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You animate in 24 frames.
Yeah.
Bless. You like Dragon Ball Z. A lot of those fights are animated in 3 to 6 frames per second.
Right.
Like 60 frames is insanity.
I never knew
It
that.
is-
I never knew that.
Mhm. Yeah, if you go back and watch it,
That's
it
why
is-
One Punch looks so good.
they put that much extra effort into it.
I mean,
It's
and
like-
and to be fair, like they understood that when they were doing all of this like crazy light show work, almost is what I would call it. Like if you don't have that in 60, like it looks more jagged, and they wanted it to be those smooth, clean, like blue neon lines across the screen. You know?
yeah.
Very similar to like when you're watching One Punch Man. Like you see all these brilliant colors, and you're like, whoa. And it, like
Yeah,
if it's
I mean,
if it's
that's
anything
how
less
they
than
did it.
if it's anything less than 24, your brain is like, it's not as smooth. It's not real.
It's that smooth, man.
It's not smooth.
Come on, man, that's not smooth.
So Bones doing what they did for the overhaul fight. I mean, it wasn't even just like the lines. I think it was like, what show was it recently that I commented on the dude falling limp after getting punched or like tossed in the air? Tim, we were watching. Oh, it was Noblesse.
Mm.
When Regis at one point gets knocked out and he's falling from the
you're
sky.
right.
And like in the animation, you see him hit the ground, but like everything about the way he hits the ground is like if you'd taken a rag doll and like chucked it and watched it like limply, like there's no muscle. Like, because, you know, when you animate things, you can kind of like tend to be like, oh, like this is the human body shape, not like, you know, this is how the body moves when like there's nothing holding it together. And so like in the My Hero fights, like you see these rag doll moments, like that you're like, oh, like he's out.
Right.
Like he's out.
He got
out.
TKO'd.
Like
If nothing else, for Noblesse, it's very well animated.
Yes. So like particularly in the overhaul fight, I was really impressed with the physics that they gave to Midoriya while he was moving around. Cause like you would notice that like if he didn't punch the other way or something, like he just kept going. He just kept floating. Whee. You know? And then he'd like make another move and he'd like do a, you know, a stop, cut, and move. So that was what I was really impressed with. Tim?
I felt the same way about the Endeavor fight in the last episode. And I don't want to spoil it for Bless, but it is one of the most beautifully animated fights in My Hero. I
Yeah,
think
really?
it's just
Yeah.
it's so fluid in where it needs to be, but it's like it has the sharp, jagged points where you feel like it would when you watch
When you watch it,
Endeavor
you'll
just get
understand.
destroyed in a hit. You're like, and you just see the sharp, jagged movement that his body would react that way, and you're like, wow, that looked exactly what I was expecting it to do.
Yeah.
And it looked perfect.
Yeah.
It's
I
just,
think the other
they did
part
a
of
very
this,
good job animating season 4. A lot of my qualms come from the placement of the second My Hero movie and how that villain overshadowed Overhaul for a lot of people.
Did you get to watch the second movie, Bless?
I never even watched the first.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
you can skip the first. It's good.
Oh,
But
really?
like you can like there's
You can skip the second.
you can because they're not canon, but they're canon.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll make this point.
If you just watch like the last fight and not all the way to like the end of the movie, it's a really good movie. If you skip the last like 10 minutes.
Yes.
10 minutes is that bad?
It's not
It's a
bad. It's
great
just
movie.
It invalidates the rest of the movie.
I got you.
because again,
You
like
know
we
how
said
I
earlier,
said earlier when we were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
anime movies, yeah, they have to undo everything.
this is what I'll say about the My Hero movies and why I'd say watch them if you're a fan, but like if you don't want to, you don't have to, is what Studio Bones is really, really good at doing, particularly with good stories, is creating that one moment in which you feel like everything is on the line and that everything has to be perfect. And in that like section, everything's perfect. Like
I got you.
the impact feels perfect. The emotional impact of things feel perfect. Like the sound design, the character voices, the character lines, the soundtrack. Like, ask Nate. I will listen to Might You on the regular. Like, I'll just be
He does.
sitting around and I'll listen to the final soundtrack piece of that fight because it's a song. It's not just like a soundtrack piece. Like, there's
Yeah, I've
vocals in
heard
it. Like, I will just sit down and listen to it because it's that good. Because like and then I picture the whole thing in my head because that's how I work, right? Like, it's so good at doing that once you watch it, you're like, holy smokes, that was amazing. And unfortunately, with both of them, the very end has to undo it because of what we were talking about with anime movies,
Yeah.
right? But like, if you're watching it just for all of that, like your mind is blown. You're like, holy smokes, that was incredible. Whether it's the impact frames, like we talked about with Slap one week, whether it's the soundtrack, whether it's like the impact emotionally of like what's going on, you know, like it's.
Oh, that's right.
just
We
so good.
watched that movie with Slap.
We watched that
before
movie with Slap before the episode
Mhm.
just so we could talk about it.
episode with him.
Yeah.
That was great.
I feel like we should probably do that again for fun. Is just watch an anime movie in the Discord.
Yeah, actually, I thought about, on the topic of Patreon quickly.
Yes,
Starting to have like movie nights.
that'd be good. That'd be dope. Bless, you're invited. So
Hey,
you
I'm
can catch
down.
up. So you can catch
Yeah.
up on all the things.
Catch up stream. Yeah.
I really think that's what Bones does so well about My Hero. You know, like the Meathead arc, like when he's fighting Muscle Man, like that moment, like where he's like
The Muscle Man fight.
where he punches up and like, you know, that moment, that impact frame, that sound, that like that one shot is all you need. Like everything else can be pseudo mediocre if you wanted it. The problem is like My Hero is not a mediocre story and Bones is not a mediocre animation studio, so it doesn't feel mediocre. But like those are the moments. Those are the moments. Bless, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I really, really need to watch those like last 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. The reason why I stopped watching them was just because at the start of 2020, I was being a good boy. I was going to the gym every day until it got shut down. And what I would do
Same.
is like for my cardio, because I hate cardio, is I would just watch My Hero.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. And like, so that's how I was like just burning through anime.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I need to catch up.
No, it's
I was
it's
lucky
good.
enough that when I moved into the house that I'm currently living in with my frat brothers that we had like an elliptical bike. So that's how I like get most of my anime done is like I'll do my cardio and watch all of my anime. So I'll be on the elliptical for like 2 hours and then maybe still have to do legs after that.
Crazy
You're,
man.
you're
That's
insane.
wild.
You're insane.
Fridays are a tough day.
I don't work out.
I
I
have like 6 shows to watch and still have to do a leg workout.
I am just thoroughly impressed whenever like I have friends who are like, yeah, like I get all my stuff done on the cardio, and I'm like, I just want to run and not think about anything. Like I just want to zone out while I'm running. Like I don't know how.
doing on cardio besides like I don't know.
I mean, like so when
can
I do my
understand
cardio,
podcasts.
when I do my cardio, I literally just put on like light lo-fi or like a rock playlist that I want to like listen to that I haven't listened to yet, so like I can zone out and like pick it apart, because like I don't want to do anything super like hyper intellectual while I'm running, because like I just like to keep my pace. And so like if I have something that I'm, you know, the beat kind of keeps my pace, and then I can like process other things. I don't like to do shows or stuff, particularly because I mostly do it on the treadmill, and like if I guess I could do it better if I'm on a bike, but the treadmill is not
Yeah,
like, you're
I use an
bouncing.
elliptical,
Yeah.
and so like United States Smash. I was there like, just going as fast as I could. Yeah,
Dude, that is one of my favorite. We were talking about voice acting earlier, right? That is the only place I prefer the dub over the sub. Is the United States of
really?
Smash scene. Yeah. Because Chris Sabat's United States of Smash, partially I think because they did United States of Smash in English in the Japanese, and it's one thing to like English it, and it's another thing to like phonetically English it.
yeah.
So
The Endeavor fight is also a spot where I think the dub is better.
Yeah.
And I love Endeavor's Japanese voice actor. I have watched, yeah,
Sorry.
exactly.
That's one of my
I've
favorite ones
watched
in the entire series.
I've watched the Endeavor fight 5 times. Twice on my own, twice with my housemates dubbed, and a third time with housemates subbed. And everyone in the house agrees the dub is where it goes off, because the voice, the inflection that Endeavor's VA uses is just, when you hear him straining in sections, you're like, oh my god, it's over. This man's is dead. It's over.
So you're telling me I should actually finish My Hero Season 4?
yes,
Yes.
yes. Nate hasn't either, so you're not like all alone.
Hey,
I just like My Hero's one of like I got my like I guess that's the other thing about My Hero. You can get like anybody into My Hero. Like my mom and my sister watch my dad watches My Hero with my family back at home on the weekends.
cool.
And my mom, like my sister, is not allowed to watch it until my mom is ready to watch it with her during those weeks. She
Aw,
called me
that's
this
cool.
last week and it was like, so I need your Viz subscription so I can read through, because I want to read the whole thing again. Like, you know, like my college roommates who weren't into anime at all suddenly got into My Hero. Like, and all of us on the cheer team were watching My Hero together. So I'd come in like on a Monday and everybody be like, My Hero.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
Hey,
a
Paul,
that's
is
what
your
my
up
house was this
crying?
fall.
My UPS is crying.
Yeah, I
Yes,
can
it's
hear
here.
it
It's
through the wall.
screaming at me.
Okay. I thought I was like, I had an alert going off somewhere in the house that like the fire alarm was going.
Dude, yeah,
And you were
I was
like, oh no.
Panicking a little bit, like what's going on? And I look at Paul and he's like,
So to put it
Yeah,
in
I think
perspective, my
that's-
UPS
I think that's
is
your
not-
UPS
No, it
trying to
is.
tell us that we should end the episode, but fuck your UPS for like 10 more
No,
minutes.
I know. Go ahead and talk. I'm just gonna
Honestly-
keep muting myself unless I'm talking.
I was gonna
Alright.
say, I think it's time for a very special case. Nate?
yes.
Oh, so Bless, this is your first time on the show. And
Mhm.
for all of our first time guests, we have a special end of episode ritual that we do
okay.
called I Can't Believe That's a Light Novel Title. So Nate goes out of his way to find obscene or random or wacky light novel titles. And when we first started to record the podcast, Nate found one that will forever stick with me. And we always let a first-time guest hear that one, and then whatever the week's new one is.
Okay.
We start you off with the best, and then we give you the rest. So, the best one that we've found so far is my reincarnation as a hot spring in a different world is beyond belief. It's not like being inside you feels good or anything.
That's the title.
That's the
Yes.
title.
It's an
That's a
actual
real
light
light
novel
novel.
title.
That's
By the
that's
way,
a book that somebody wrote
I
and
own it.
published.
I
Yeah.
bought the light novel in Japanese because the English is not available. But I own that now.
Hell yeah.
I'm not proud to say that I own it, but I do own it.
No
for the
one should
content.
be proud to own that. And so this week I went and I found another one that looks kind of fun. So I'm gonna hit you with the summary. Toka Momori and his classmates are abruptly catapulted into a fantasy world, summoned by the resident goddess to serve as heroes. The good news: most students display amazing skills upon arrival. The bad: Momori is the worst of the lot, bottoming out as a measly E rank. Incensed, the goddess tosses him into a dungeon to die, but it turns out Momori's skills aren't so much worthless as they are abnormal. Abnormally powerful, perhaps, in Failure Frame. I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells.
I love that.
Okay. Nate, I need you to see if that's on Bookwalker because I'll buy that one. That one sounds really fun.
It's on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.
Then it's probably on Bookwalker, and I'll use my free money from Bookwalker to buy it.
This is actually a good one. Yeah, I actually found a good one this week. The
good.
past couple weeks have been we've been looking. Oh, Cherry's read. See, here's the best thing: is every single week I'll bring up a weird ass light novel title that I think nobody's heard of, and either Tim or Cherry in the chat will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm reading that one. I really like what happens in chapter 18 to the main character and his waifu," and I'm like, how can I find something that no one else knows about?
Okay, I will never forget how good you got me with Nate. There's one other really special one that I want Bless to hear.
Which one?
I'm going to put it in the Studio Blank chat.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you the.
Give me the start because I have the list. Wait,
I gave you a one-word clue.
I'm trying to remember what it was called exactly. Tim, can you just help me out here?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it because I don't remember the exact titling of it, but it's
I have the list. If you can give me it, like an idea of what you think it is, because I have a notepad on my computer now.
it's the son of a
Just
it
DM me
was
what
one
you
of the
think it is.
I think it wasn't our first episode, but it was the second. It was the one about the noble being reincarnated as a noble, but also the one word clue that I gave
Yeah.
you.
Oh no.
Paul, you remember which one I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to remember what it was because it was so stupid and fun.
I found it.
You found it?
Yep.
All right. Would you like to read it out?
Oh,
I was always a big fan of Woof Woof Story.
Wolf Wolf Story.
Yeah.
because I've been reincarnated as the Piggy Duke, this time I will say I like you.
The Piggy Duke. Yes, that's what it was.
That's an insta buy for me.
The Piggy Duke is forever the best.
The Piggy Duke.
Yeah.
We have found a lot of really weird ones. There's one about a dude who was reincarnated as a vending machine in a dungeon. Yeah. Like
And there's the toilet one.
yes, reborn as
the
a
one
vending
where my
machine, now I
entire
wonder the
bathroom's
dungeon.
turned into a dungeon. So getting to the toilet has become increasingly more difficult. Yeah. But we're not going to dive into more light novels. If you want more, you'll have to check us out next week.
Oh my god.
All right. Hey, Bless,
Yeah.
where can people find you on the internet? Twitter, Twitch, any projects that you're working on?
Sure. You can find me out at usually YouTube, Twitch at Blessius, on Instagram and Twitter at Blessius Plays because someone stole the handle. And if you want anything VO-wise, KyleBlessing.com.
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh.
And Tim, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Syndaxatrix, SYNDAXATRIX, and running the Studio Blank Twitter at Studio Blank Pod. I'll tell you where they can find Paul because I know he's muted because his UPS is a very mean boy. You can find Paul on Twitter and Twitch at I Love Mondays. On Twitter, I_love_Mondays, MUNDAYS, and Twitch just without the underscores. And you can also find him on the Rare Drop channel on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays for Reckoning Hour D&D with Captain Robert, and Fridays with the Studio Blank Boys doing Watch Party. Nate, where do they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook Gaming, and YouTube at Comfimus. Spelled the same way every single location. Thanks, guys, for joining us this episode. It has been a blast. Bless, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a pleasure, and we will see you all next week with another episode of Studio Blank.
A very
Bye.
special Christmas episode, in fact. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
All right, and you can all stop your recordings now.
All right.
For the chat, for patrons that are here, please go on to Patreon and send us 3 to 5 of your wackiest, least favorite, most favorite, I don't care what genre, shows, webtoon, manga, light novels, whatever it is. And what we're doing is a white elephant gift exchange with the 3 hosts. So I'm going to have one of my housemates randomly select a group of them from the list. I will go through, put them all into a bucket, shake them up, pull out 3 at random, and or 4, in fact.
Tim,
and what we'll do is
you bring up an excellent point with this bucket, but I just want you to know we have a wheel.
I know we have the wheel, but it's going to be fun because the bucket will have the wheel. We'll have a wheel for the bucket. I'm
Oh
just
my
going to pick
God,
out
dude.
4 random ones. I'm not even going to number them on the outside.
Oh, good lord.
They're just going to be pieces of paper. And then we'll start with Paul. Paul will pick first. He'll open his content, and at the end of the gift exchange, our jobs will be to go out and find that content, and if we have to, buy it. And then the next week on a special episode, for patrons only, we will have our discussion of the content that we were given for Christmas. So send us messages directly to the Patreon or on Patreon, and I will go through, parse that, and it'll be a fun time.
Oh, it'll be interesting to say the least. And Tim will be making a post in the Discord as well. Hopefully giving some form of guidelines.
Yes.
Okay, thank God. Oh, I don't want to watch like a 26 episode series over the
No,
next
no.
week.
Treat it as you had to at least watch 5 episodes if it's a
Okay.
show, or if it's a manga or a webtoon or a light novel, at least 5 chapters.
Cherry scares me.
So yeah, that's what that's gonna look like.
Love you. I'm going to restart my computer, guys. Thanks for hanging out this week. We appreciate y'all, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.